Hi, I'm Lesley Logan. Here is Westwood Pilates. This is where I shoot a lot of my videos and also where I teach when I'm in town in Los Angeles, all of my private sessions. I'm really excited to join up again with Andrea and Maida, and we are talking about how to deal with the exercises you hate. It came up because there's been a lot of talk about, between her and I anyways, about what exercises we struggle with, and generally the ones you struggle with are ones you dislike a lot. And I dislike a lot of things that have to do with a tall back. Mostly because I have such a mobile spine, I have a really hard time figuring out what tall is. When I am in my tallest back, parts of my spine that should feel extended feel round, and what normally feels round is extended. So it's just this really backwards way of thinking, and my body just wants to avoid it like the plague. And it's been a real struggle in my entire Pilates practice. When I was doing the work with Jay Grimes, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to have this tall back and also trust what that is. And I was really lucky and blessed to have teachers get really creative and try to help me find my tall back. And I'm going to show you one of the exercises, practice things that I do to help me with a particular exercise, but I'm also going to talk about a couple things that will be available as videos on my channel if they're not already. So a tall back, first of all, is just like a flat back. It's not when you're doing extension like a swan, and it's not round like rolling like a ball. It's also not the side bend exercises or a twist. Okay, so any other exercise where the spine is basically just being itself and the exercise is moving somewhere else in the body would be more of a tall back exercise. So push-ups have been the bane of my existence since I got my first B in PE in high school. I just have a really hard time finding them, and even though I'm a big yoga fan, every time I have to do a chaturanga or I do a push-up with my trainer and I do the push-ups in Pilates, it is like all focus has to go to making this happen so that I'm in my back, connected to my core, and I don't round my shoulders or follow my lower back. I am proud to say that for the last 10 years I've been able to push up off the floor in a flat back. So maybe I should do all of my push-ups backwards. I don't know, we'll see. One of my exercises and practice things that I do when I'm trying to find my tall back is I use the wall. So I actually stand up against the wall, and I'll have a YouTube video on this in my channels soon. But where I stand up against the wall like this, my head against the wall, my shoulders against the wall, and I am not allowed to have air pockets where my ribs are, and I'm not allowed to have air pocket where my lower back is. I have to just like find it, right? And then I hold it for a couple minutes just to try to like memorize it. And then I get on the floor and do my mat work, or I get on the reformer and do my reformer work. Another thing that I do to kind of find that tall, flat back is if I can use a mirror, I'll do a chest expansion on the Cadillac, because you get the excuse to look both ways. And that is a really great exercise for coordinating all the body parts, especially for me. But I'll start doing it kneeling on the Cadillac first, because then my knee joints and ankle joints are a little bit out of the way and I can't cheat there. And then I'll go and do it over on the reformer, where it's a little bit trickier to coordinate all the body parts. And then I go and do it on the pedal pole. And those exercises are on my channel. You can see them. But if you can use a mirror, when you go to look, if you can see wrinkles in your shirt back here, you probably lost that tall back, right? So those are just some exercises that I use to constantly reinforce my tall back. But where I fear the most problem in my tall back is on my long stretch on the reformer, my control push-ups on the reformer, and then especially my leg pull on the mat. And the reason is, as soon as I lift my leg up, boom, all bets are off. When you have the reformer, the springs are really helpful in actually giving your body the strength that you need. But when you're on the mat, as soon as I lift my leg up, I've lost some feedback that actually helps me keep everything together. So my teacher, Sandy Shimoda, gave me this as a little trick, and I'm gonna give it to you. I take this short box, and I actually place my body on it. I put my hands here on the floor, and my feet on the floor, okay? And so I press into the floor as if I was, putting weight on my body to hold myself up. And then I just find everything in me and I try to take one foot and I lift it up and I feel if my body shifted and I put it back down. And I take the other foot and I reach it away and I put it back down. And I just kind of like play with stretching one leg out and away without feeling anything change on my front side in the box. And what I notice even today is that as I lift this one leg, I automatically want to dip down into here. So how can I lengthen this leg and actually encourage the front to stay lifted, right? So that's a question I have to investigate with myself. And then ideally, right, I could just push up and then keep that investigation going. And then I could add the rock because I'm no longer stuck on my box. Oh, I think I lost it. So I can come back down, I can reconnect and figure it out. Oh, and then I can try one more time to keep that going. So the moral of the story is when you dislike something a lot, push-ups for me, investigate that. So what is it about the push-ups I hate? It's really the tall back. Well, then all the other exercises in Pilates have a tall back. If I think about it, I'm honest about it, I really struggle with. I struggle with doing the star. I struggle with long stretch, control push-ups. I struggle with the start position of mermaid. It's a tall back before it goes into a side bend. And so instead of skipping them or hating them or just avoiding them or dreading them, instead I try to figure out different ways to break it down. I use a wall, I use this box, and I use the springs to help me find it. And then I go back and challenge myself where I don't have the assistance of the springs and I don't have the assistance of a wall, and I see how I do. And video is really helpful if you're struggling to figure out if you've got it or not. I'm sure when I look at this, I'm gonna see a lot of things I need to work on, but you know what? That's why Pilates is a practice, and I'm just gonna keep going, and just so are you. And what I would love to hear in the comments below is what exercises you dislike a lot and how you're trying to find an investigative way to fix that. Please check out Andrea Maida Pilates channel and see what she is working on. She's got 5 exercises for you. And you can also check out our blogs. She's pilatesandrea.com and I'm LesleyLoganPilates.com. Thank you.